telephone. First off, it's in place to congratulate you with what we are seeing right now. How
Yes.
was the race for you? I mean, we look at the history of this constituency. It's been for the MPP all the while, but how was the race for you as a first-time member of parliament?
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me thank your viewers and say that it's been an incredible experience for me. Well, I've always believed that I was going to become the MP for Ejoso, but I'm so happy that finally God has given me the opportunity, and the people of Ejoso has also agreed to give me the opportunity to serve them as Member of Parliament. It's an interesting experience. It comes with joy in your heart, but also with a consciousness that you now have a deep responsibility to meet the expectation and the needs of the community there, whilst you also work hard in your government to promote the development of the country. So I am very excited about the new experience, and I believe that I will contribute a lot to make my role as a legislator of Ghana better.
And I see that in as much as this is a constituency that is it's up for the MPP to take any day, you made the point you still had to do a lot of work, put in some work in the constituency. Going forward, how is the next 4 years, in your view, going to be like as a first-time member of parliament, and bearing in mind the fact that in as much as you won with this huge margin, a lot is changing in politics, John Kumah?
Yeah. If you look at 2016, the figure for the NPP was about 54,000 or 55,000. And we needed to work hard to increase it to 69,000 this time. And so we put in a lot of effort. And of course, in the next 4 years, we hope to work extra hard to meet the expectation, the community development needs of the people of Ejoso. Basically, that is the main duty to attend to. Because when people elect you in Ghana to be their legislator, the expectation is that you go to Parliament to make laws, but you also become a key development agent for the community. And in Ejoso, a number of issues are at play. The youth are looking for jobs. They expect me to use my influence to assist them in finding jobs and creating various opportunities for them to be fixed. Of course, community infrastructure needs like roads and bridges and sanitation issues have to be addressed across various communities within the community. Ejoso is the heart of our national heritage product like Kente. Because of Bonyere, we have to look at a way where we can all help to position Bonyere Kente in the national scheme of affairs as far as tourism is concerned.
Yeah.
And how we can use that to generate regular income for the young people of Bonyere and Ejoso constituency. We are lucky now to have the Boankra Inland Port. Fortunately, the sod has been cut. In the next 3 years, we are expecting to see full completion of that project for the young people to also benefit from such interventions. We know there's an ongoing one district, one factory agenda of government. We need to lobby more projects into Ejoso for the youth to also get opportunities. So I think that these are some of the interventions that my constituents will be looking up to me to lobby, to bring to them and to see that their welfare issues are also addressed.
Right. Thank you for your time this evening. I appreciate it. And it's good to have you. And Dr. John Ampotwa Kumah. That's his full name. Okay. In fact, I keep saying that it is only during election that you get to hear the full names of people and the names they've been hiding from us for a while. So Dr. John Ampotwa Kuma for the Ejisu constituency in the Ashanti region. We had it there earlier. Our colleagues in the Ashanti region spoke to him after the Electoral Commission officer there in the Ejisu Coalition Center declared the certified results and declared him as MP-elect for the Ejisu constituency. If you look at the history of that constituency, he's been for the MPP all the while. And so when he won the primaries, for many, it was a foregone conclusion that he was indeed going to win. But politics is not absolute and straightforward these days. And that's, for many, very good for our democracy, so that you cannot say that because a place is your stronghold, you will not put in a lot of work. The Ghanaian electorate is becoming discerning by the day, and the issue-based campaigning and the issue-based conversations that preceded the December 7 election, for me, having led with all of us here on this particular platform, having led this whole path of the constituency debates that we led on 3FM, I get this sense of fulfillment that we are growing as a people in appreciating the essence of democracy and demanding accountability from those whom we vote for with our thumbs. We're actually volunteering or giving our power to these people to govern us, hoping that they will come up with ideas and policies that will improve our lot as a people. And we, with our taxes, taking care of them as well. The least they can do for us is to do the things they said they were going to do, so that we can all have an improvement in our conditions of living. In fact, the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, the Directive Principle of State Policy, indicates that the most secure democracy is that which is able to meet the basic needs of its people. What are those basic needs? I mean, water, electricity, good roads, and all of those things. So,
anyway,
Bella.
Just quickly cross over to Godfred Tanam, who's just joining us on air, and he's updating us on what's happening on the ground. Hello, Godfred. Godfred, hi. Can you hear me?
Hi, Bella. I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
I can hear you loud and clear. Where are you exactly? What can you report?
I'm currently in the Bogatanga Central constituency in the Upper East region. Initially, there was some form of jubilation between among the NDC and then the MPP. They were both jubilating because they think that their candidates have won. But now everything is quiet. Everything is very, very quiet now. And you can see from the streets that people are not actually doing anything. It is very empty now. And you, as you can see, very empty. And they are waiting. Some of them are watching television, waiting for the EC to declare whoever the winner is, and so they can jubilate. But initially, that was after former President John Dramani Mahama came out to say that he's winning. You could see that the people outside and were jubilating, while the NDC was jubilating, the MPP was also jubilating. In fact, they were doing that at very close range without anything happening. They could mingle with each other and then sort of teasing, but they were so happy. You were not seeing any kind of animosity between them or any enmity where they think that there's something wrong somewhere. But they were all both happy and enjoying, thinking that their candidates are winning. So basically, at this particular time, the streets are empty. And I believe that if Electoral Commission decides to declare the winner this evening, it is going to be full. And we will definitely make sure that we get that on our screens.
Okay. Well, I believe that maybe also because people have to return to work in the morning, maybe that's why they have all, gone back home, still keeping their ears on the ground, hoping that they can hear something.
Unlike other areas where up to now they are jubilating, over here it's not like that. And this is the stronghold of the NDC. The former President John Mahama has won in this particular constituency. The Member of Parliament, Isaac Adongo, has also won, retained his seat at this particular constituency. So it is a seat safe seat for the NDC, and that is what they've been winning. It's only the PNC that has won this particular seat before, but apart from that, NDC has been winning this particular seat in the Boga Central constituency.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Godfrey. Thank you. And yes, he's talking to us from the Boga Central constituency in the Upper East region. And he says that the situation there is very calm. Everyone is still waiting to hear from the Electoral Commission. But at the same time, they all have returned to their homes after jubilating for a while. So now let's speak to Na Momo. And, well, Namomo Latte is who we'll be speaking to at this point. Krowo constituency. She's the MP elect for Krowo constituency. Hello, Namomo. Good morning. Well, good evening. Namomo, can you hear me, please? Namomo, can you hear me? Honorable, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, so, okay. Welcome, by the way, and congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me now, Mo? I'm asking. I mean, what's the feeling like, knowing exactly that, you know, what it is that you worked hard for, now you're reaping the benefits?
Oh, it's quite humbling. Very humbling. Let me use this opportunity to thank the people of Krowo for the massive support they've given me in this process. In fact, they've been there throughout. And to see it reflect in votes, it was very humbling. I still feel overwhelmed by the care and support that they showed. So it's a feeling that is difficult to express with words.
I remember that we had a conversation not too long ago when you joined us on TV3 New Day, about a month ago or so. And you were very optimistic about winning. You even talked about what you've been able to do in the constituency to help, especially the women in that constituency. Would you say that those are the things that played a key role, or just the fact that maybe this time around the electorates wanted a change?
I think it's a combination of the two, but mostly it was also because the people know that I'm one person they can hold in trust. They can actually say that I'm a politician who deal with them with some amount of integrity and trust that you can hardly find. I speak much truth to politics, and for that matter, they believe me when I say that this is what we're going to embark on. And I believe within this period we will be able to do that. And we are able to accomplish it. If there are challenges, I get back to them. So I have, in a nutshell, a very, should I say, open relationship with the people. It's a relationship of trust. And so when they said that we're going to vote for you, I believed them. And they did it. And so it's also obligatory for me to make sure that the things that I have said I'm going to do with them, I should be able to do them. So it's basically a relationship of trust. That's what that. Yes, I have done some things in the past, partnering His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, but more so, they knowing that things that bother on them are the things that I'm passionate about, to see that they are happy and smiles on their faces.
What would be that one thing that you think you can really work on, you know, as you assume office after being sworn in later in January? What would be that one key thing that you'd focus on?
The one key thing, which is a priority to me, is job creation. Because the effect of unemployment on the larger population, which is the youth, is something that you don't want to see as a leader. It's so devastating. And so for me, the one thing that I'll pick up and work on with all the speed and experience and connections or networks that I have for the benefit of the people is job creation. And for that, I can assure you that even as I speak with you, I am thinking of ways and means to make sure that I get the youth occupied in gainful employment.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Namomo Latte from the Crowell constituency, and she is the MP-elect for that area. She says she'll focus on job creation. Well, congratulations to her, and let's see how that goes for the next 4 years. Alfred.
Absolutely, Bella. And Elizabeth Afole-Kwei is the Fisheries Minister, an incumbent member of Parliament. And so to have Latte Agnes Namomo, you just spoke to, defeat her, she certainly did put in a lot of work.
She did.
You coming up against the might, the strength, and the influence of an incumbent and then also a minister of state is no easy feat. And so for me, it would be good to see the numbers. Then it would help us all appreciate the level of work that the NDC, now Member of Parliament-elect Latte Agnes Namomo, put in there. And we'll see if that was also replicated in the presidential.
We will see that. But you see, one thing that she didn't touch on, I remember when I spoke to her, she was more concerned about preservation of fish and processing of fish in the area, because we have a majority of the women also, in the business of fishmongering. And so she said that was one thing that she was going to focus on. And that was something that Afole failed to do for the women in that constituency. And so, well, she says job creation, and of course that probably might also translate into finding ways to process the fish that the women usually would sell. So let's see how that goes. But let's cross over to...
Well, yes. Let's connect a bit more on this. And Dr. Ali Dusedo is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Political Science Department. Also, Adib Sani is a security analyst as well, joining us via Zoom. Gentlemen, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I know you're keeping awake as we are. Adib, let me start off with you. A number of security concerns have been raised by the NDC especially, and then also, at least we covered some, we showed our viewers some of the disturbances that happened in the Ablekuma Central constituency, where some people sustained gunshots, allegedly fired by some security personnel who were there to try and maintain law and order. From where you are, I know you also have your own observers down there and giving you information. What's your view of the security climate that has hovered this particular period of the elections? Adib, I'd want to ask you to unmute, if you can unmute, so we hear you. Hello? Okay, Adib, you're muted. You're still muted. I don't know if you can unmute, so we hear you. Can you hear me now? No, unfortunately, I cannot hear you. But we will try to work on that and get back to you. I think it's just a little technical hitch. But Adib Sani is a security analyst joining us on Zoom. Dr. Ali Dusedo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, loud and clear.
Fantastic. Thank you for your time this evening. Good evening to you. Let me now start off with you while we rectify Adib Sani's connection. For you, looking at the claims that both parties are making, which we are not new to, what's your reading of this situation? All the issues that the political parties are putting out now, especially the NDC and the MPP?
So much for giving me the opportunity. I think political parties will necessarily want to define their position and project their level of success in every election. And sometimes the process that they release are actually meant to highlight or bring the attention of a specific issue to the general public. And sometimes too, they may want to seek remedy for some things that they think wasn't done properly. In other instances too, they want to touch base with their supporters and energize that base. And in most often than not, some of these things are also done to have a psychological advantage and then make their supporters feel a little bit comfortable. I think the both political parties have the right under the Constitution to issue a press statement and then bring the attention of Ghanaians and the international observer community and state institutions to specific issues. But I still believe that caution must be exercised in these back and forth presses. What I do believe is that the Electoral Commission is the returning officer. The Electoral Commission chair is the returning officer for the presidential. And then at the parliamentary level, we also have the Electoral Commission officers at that particular constituency level. So we should let the Electoral Commission, at the end of every the processes, in consultation and in verification with political parties representatives, put all the certified results together and declare who the winner is. If we are able to do this, then I think we'll be doing a lot of good to ourselves as political institutions, but to the Ghanaian population at large. Sometimes some of these back and forth pressures may heighten tension in the country.
And it's a good point that you made then. It's something that we've been talking about, reiterating this point there to ensure that at least our viewers are also carried along every step of the way and ensure that the Electoral Commission is the one that we're waiting for to put out, as they have been given the power by the Constitution to do so. But Dr. Adjei, we've seen some very interesting trends, at least with the certified results put out by the Electoral Commission in some of the constituencies so far. I mean, if you look at for the NDC, for instance, Krowa constituency in the Greater Accra region, we just spoke to the Member of Parliament-elect Late Agnes Namomo, who is the NDC MP-elect, defeating Elizabeth Afolekwe, a Minister of State and the incumbent Member of Parliament of this constituency. I want to find out your view on this, especially because of what we do know about the might, the strength, and the influence that a minister, who's a Member of Parliament, comes to the table with in an election.
So it is very crucial to understand that the Ghanaian voter over the years, having participated in about 8 national elections since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, are beginning to understand the dynamics. And by understanding the dynamics, they are able to make comparisons. Their situation now and their situation back, the processes that we have here and the processes elsewhere. And that analysis has made them so sophisticated over the years. So the mostly, not all the time, but they mostly will look out for independent candidates, either at the parliamentary level or the presidential level, that are able to serve their interests as citizens of this country, personally, but also candidates that are able to satisfy the interests of the broader community in which they live, and to the larger extent, the state. We know that elections in this country, if you look at a lot of survey and research done by the Westminster Foundation for West Africa and then CDB, suggested that it is very expensive running campaign in this particular country.
Sure.
The processes itself is very costly, but also your people's ability and the deliberate attempts to induce voters to vote for them also makes it so astronomically the cost. So to be able, maybe as somebody in the opposition, to be able to fight an incumbent MP, but also a Minister of State, which the assumption is that will be privy to resources comparatively to somebody in an opposition party, makes such a victory so sweet. So I believe that it sends a lot of signal. If you look at the flips that has happened and then the new people who have been elected, and you compare it to the work of the incumbents, you begin to realize that Ghanaian voter is now becoming sophisticated. And in most of these cases, you could see that even there is a little bit of ticket splitting, where candidates voted for one particular candidate in the MP side, and they voted for a different candidate in the presidential. So they are now becoming more discerning. They are now looking out for issues. They are now looking out for people who take them seriously. In most cases, they will take this money. It may influence them and the way they vote. And in other cases, they will take the money and they will still punish you. So in most of these cases, we have punitive voting going on through skirt and blouse voting. And in most cases, even political parties' own registered members shrink their votes in favor of other candidates other than that of their political party. So it suggests that we are becoming sophisticated in the way we vote, but we also suggest that Ghanaians now think that even if you have the resources and you give it to me, the resources may belong to me anyway because I paid the tax. I'll still take it and I'll vote against
absolutely. You. And you're right on this. And I keep saying that no political party comes into power and executes development with its own money, right? I mean, they are not NGOs. They come into power and they use our own resources to execute development which, they claim ownership of and point to that these are their political achievements. But I think it's clear. And that level of political consciousness, that you point to, that the Ghanaian is becoming aware of some of these things, that what you're even using to execute development, Bella, it's not your money.
Yeah.
It's our money, right? And so you didn't come into power with your money to come and execute development.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the people begin to ask those questions. So let me say, do you see and do you agree with those who say that we're having an increased level of politically aware Ghanaian electorates who would look out for the issues and vote on, becoming more discerning, or you disagree? There are many who say that it's just business as usual for some others. From the political scientist perspective, what's your view?
To some extent, I agree that there's a level of sophistication, increasing growth in sophistication in the way the Ghanaian voter population vote. And this sophistication can be attributed to several reasons. The first has to do with getting used to the electoral processes. In other jurisdictions, or even compared to our relative past, republics have never traveled as far as the Fourth Republic has traveled. So because we have voted several times, this is actually the 8th time in the national election, but we've had other local level, this assembly level elections, referendums and all those things. I'm not even counting them. But national, parliamentary and presidential elections, national elections, this is the 8th time. And most Ghanaians have witnessed the NDC and the MPP change power and what they say when they want to win elections and what they say when they come to power. So they have followed this trend. They have voted for like 8 times, and they now begin to understand the game plan of politicians. And once they begin to understand and they know that most of these politicians take us for granted, they only come to us and sweet talk us when they want us to vote for them. And when they win, they run away from us. Then they also begin to develop that level of sophistication and that level of maneuverability in terms of what politicians are able to do to them. So the experience of voting repeatedly has given the Ghanaian voter so much experience to be able to make comparisons, to be able to do analysis, and that makes them increasingly more sophisticated. But 2, it also has to do with access to information. The Ghanaian media has actually helped the Ghanaian voters so much by giving them so much education and so much information.
Yeah.
So in every election period, so like it is happening now, if you tune into all these radio stations, they have invested in technology, they have invested in software, they are doing analysis, and they are projecting and they are contesting fake news. So that level of education actually makes the Ghanaian voter to be able to make a decisive decision. Because in the absence of an informed decision, it becomes very difficult for a voter to make a decision that is right.
True.
So the access to information by the media has actually helped the Ghanaian voter a lot to be able to tell the difference between one political party from the other, to be able to tell the difference between policies of political parties, to be able to make comparisons. And that level of education is very significant.
Good point.
The third has to do with the education of NCC and other civil society organizations. Having said this, I still think majority of the Ghanaian voters vote based on the dominant party model, party loyalty, more than just what? The increase in sophistication. And just a tiny percentage of the Ghanaian voter that expresses this sophistication in elections. At best, majority of them will vote for their parties anyway, whether they have all these things we talk about or not.
Or otherwise. I appreciate this. And it clearly paints the picture of where we are now and how progressive our democracy has been growing over the period. Dr. Ali Doseidu, I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, sir. He is a senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana Political Science Department. Adib Sani is joined us back on Zoom. Let's hope this time around we get the connection right. Adib, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, Alfred.
Fantastic, fantastic. I can hear you clearly as well. Adib Sani is a security analyst. Adib, I was outlining a number of security issues that have dotted this period, just during the voting and then during the counting process and the results declaration as well. What's your reading so far?
Well, first of all, let us put all of this into context. There are three different phases when it comes to elections. We have the pre-election stage, election day stage, and the post-election stage. There are security issues at every single stage of the election process. But most intriguingly, the most prevalent violence, the probability of violence occurring after the election is more than even during the elections. When you will take a closer look at the myriad of election-related conflict situations we have suffered on this continent, mostly is after the election day. Like it happened in Ivory Coast in 2010, that culminated, after a dispute between Laurent Gbagbo and Alassane Ouattara into a civil war in 2011. But like I say, we are not in a utopian society. We cannot have 100% violence-free elections, okay? We're bound to have some pockets of violence here and there, but our ability to control it so it doesn't degenerate or it doesn't become widespread is extremely key. But it is more depressing, especially because of the antics of the two major political parties with respect to who has won the elections. And it's becoming shameful, to say the least. And I'm particularly very worried about what is currently happening. And I think it is time we put in place certain structures to prevent it from becoming widespread.
Now, you say that it's for you, for the lack of better expression, normal to have, I wouldn't say violence, but some misunderstanding, especially in every contest. But we should be worried if it degenerates to the level of violence, where people are shot at, attacked in any shape or form. That cannot be normal. It's an abnormal situation that should not be normalized in any way, don't you think?
Well, like I said, we cannot have 100% violence-free election. But mind you, Alfred, there's a catalog of election-related issues that is quite synonymous. It cuts across the African society. Issues of zero-sum politics. I win, I have it all. You lose, you have nothing. And so winning an election has become a matter of survival. So we have a lot of political players who must win an election or must win an election. We have issues of monetization of the electoral process with some people investing in it, issues of vigilantism, despite the various political actors penning their signature to a number of documents, including the roadmap to disbanding these vigilante groups at the behest of the National Peace Council and the Ghana Police Service at DRC, none of the political parties have disbanded these vigilante groups. We have issues of the cycle of impunity where people do the wrong thing and they are not held into account, and that is feeding into that cycle. We have issues of ethnicity and a whole host of other, negativities affecting our democracy. But that notwithstanding, since the inception of the Fourth Republic, we've served as a shining example, as has been rightly mentioned by the president in his last address. We have done it before and we can't do it again. But of course, we cannot afford to be complacent. And it's also worth noting that we are bound to have some pockets of violence. But it is also important to note that it will be unfair to paint the whole process with a single stroke of negative brush because of the pockets of violence we might have in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 polling stations out of the nearly 40,000 polling centers we have all across the country. I am not in any way justified what is going on. It is not good enough. It is detrimental. It is affecting our security profile as a country. It is sending bad information out there to people. I was listening to BBC, which described our election process as so boring because it's usually devoid of widespread violence. But it looks like some people are trying to derail that process. But in as much as we condemn what is currently happening, we are also we should also expect that and put necessary structures in place so we are able to prevent it from becoming widespread. I am saying this because I don't want us to receive this as a shocker, as unexpected, and not know what to do. We should expect it. The question is, what do we do to prevent it from becoming widespread?
Adib, the other issue is with what the security agencies as well, the allegations. I mean, you've heard the NDC made some allegations against some personnel of the security agencies. But I think if you hold on a bit for me, Bella, Joseph Armstrong is with the Peace Council, in fact, the delegation of the Peace Council.
Well, they called on the NDC, and I'm told that they were refused entry. And so Armstrong Logbe is on standby to update us on that. Armstrong. Hello, Armstrong. Can you hear us? All right, we'll try and get him back on the line,
Yes.
but let's wrap up.
But yeah, while we round up, I mean, and that's where the final question to you is about some of these groups and the interventions they were expected, or some were expecting them to make, at least to calm down tempers within such periods. I'll find out your view whether or not it's within the right frame to have expectations of such groups.
Where expectations of the security groups and the accusations.
I mean, in this case, I'm talking about groups such as the National Peace Council and others as well. I mean, we know that in such times, you would expect that, yes, they'll step in and make make comments to calm down tempers, meet both parties and all. But this is what we're hearing from our reporter.
Well, the National Peace Council, CODEO, and other civil society organizations like my organization, the Center for Human Security and Peace Building, have played a very critical role so far as this election is concerned. I mean, we have been around the whole country. I've met Sheikh Armiyao at several events prior to the elections. We've been as far as, to get as many Ghanaians as possible educated, because education is key. The NCC, etc. We have peace monitors all across the country who feed into, what the police already have, and of course the intelligence community, and that's helped towards identifying even some of these flashpoint areas. So at this point, it is important they continue with, their work so we can get the political party followers to not get apprehensive and wait for the Electoral Commission to announce the results rather than, rely on their political parties, which I must say, are not helping on this occasion. But it is also instructive to know that we really need the Peace Council, especially to call on, the very top echelons of the two major political parties to just put a stop to these needless, retrogressive, shameless news conferences they are holding every now and then. I mean, we are gradually sowing some sort of seed of discord, mistrust into the Ghanaian population, because these are people who have large following, and whatever they say has direct implication. We call it in sociology groupthink on the people's opinions and perceptions about the process. And trust me, perceptions really matter on this occasion. So if you go out there and want to make your followers think that the whole process is flawed, when you don't have any evidence to back it up, the next minute the Electoral Commission comes out with the real figures, you might have the followers going into the street. So I think the political parties on this occasion are not helping. I mean, what they are doing is detrimental to the security of the state. And I'm particularly very glad that the Electoral Commission had to hold on with the declaration of the results. Because I've personally been to town, I've driven all over the place. I went to Newtown, Nima, I saw NDC supporters celebrating, MPP supporters celebrating. I've been to the NDC headquarters, MPP headquarters. I've been to even the Electoral Commission. Okay, and the atmosphere is so tense because of these needless news conferences. That is not helping. And I've been very categorical. If the results were mentioned or announced at 5 p.m., trust me, it would have been cataclysmic. So I'm glad it's been postponed, but I'm hoping that it is announced maybe very late at night, so people would sleep over their troubles, and by daybreak would accept the verdict as it is. Because the delay is also compounding the situation, because it is creating room for rumors and false disinformation and misinformation.
Great. Adib, I appreciate your time this evening and thank you so much. We will keep tabs on some of these security concerns that have been put out earlier. But Adib Sani is a security analyst. Better some information about what we put out earlier?
Well, yes. So we're told that the National Peace Council tried to call on the NDC at their office, and the party supporters prevented them from getting into the building. It's unclear what their visit was about, but Armstrong Gold Alogwe is our colleague, and he is currently at the NDC headquarters, and he says that the NDC party supporters prevented the members of the National Peace Council from getting into the building or even getting out of their cars to try to speak to the NDC executives. And so those are live videos from the NDC headquarters, and that's the bus of the National Peace Council. Not too clear, by the way, but that's from a report put together by Armstrong Gold Alogwe. He joins us on the line to tell us more about this. Armstrong, what exactly happened? Armstrong, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, Armstrong. So what can you tell us?
Okay, so I'm still here at the NDC headquarters, where you have a lot of supporters storming this place, cheering up that they've won the election based on reports the party leadership have been telling them. Earlier, there was a press conference that projected the NDC as winning the election. They projected the NDC scoring some 50.15% against the NPP presidential candidate, the government, that is Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, scoring 47.75%. And they also said that these are the final results they are getting from across the country. So what they expect the Electoral Commission to be doing anytime soon when they...
Armstrong, we understand that, but why did the Peace Council go there? If you can hear me, Armstrong.
The winner of this election.
Armstrong, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so what we really want to know is why the Peace Council went there and why they were prevented by the party supporters from getting into the building.
Why I was prevented from?
Armstrong, if you can hear me, were you able to find out from the members of the National Peace Council why they visited the NDC headquarters And also, what could have been the reason why they were prevented by party supporters from entering the building?
Very well. So with that, it happened in a flash. I was within the party, within the main compound of the NDC headquarters, and then I saw a V8 move in written on it, National Peace Council, and then some supporters just got closer to the vehicle, and then they ordered them to go down their glasses, and then they were like, "What are you doing here? Move out, move out!" And I realized that there were other two vans that was also filled with people, and I presume they are from the National Peace Council because that's the description written on the car. They would not even let them come down from the car. They started hitting the car here and there, and then they started asking them to move away. And you need to see the speed at which the National Peace Council vehicles drove out from this place. So they did not step down. But I don't know if what some of the supporters were saying was that they are in this country doing the registration, that is the voters register. There are a lot of issues that we're expecting the National Peace Council to address that they are not addressing. And they are also saying that the electoral commissioner, that is the Mensa, have been doing a lot of things that they've been complaining about. They are not hearing the National Peace Council say anything to her. And today that there is this issue, they are coming to talk to who? They should rather go and talk to the electoral commissioner that he should go ahead and declare the election in favor of the NDC rather than coming to talk to the NDC leadership. So the National Peace Council people did not even get opportunity to get to where the NDC leadership were having their press conference.
And none of the party executives also came out to try to calm down the situation?
Let me be very frank with you. I'm very sure that the executives of the party did not even know that the National Peace Council people came in here coming to see them, because right at the entrance, they were asked to turn back, and I think they did the right thing by quickly turning back and leaving the place, because the crowd was massive, and only God knows what would have happened if they did not yield to the demand from the supporters to turn back.
All right. Thank you so much, Armstrong Golda Logbe. We cannot say for a fact if indeed that car with those people are from the National Peace Council. Armstrong says that it had the inscription on the car. But until we get some solid confirmation, we'll just hold on with this information and bring you some more details a little later. But it's alleged that they tried to enter the NDC headquarters and were prevented by party supporters who didn't understand why they're trying to intervene now when they barely, did much during the voter registration exercise that was characterized by some pockets of violence. Martin, I don't know what you think about this, but
pretty surprising. We thought it was newsworthy. That's why we are bringing it, to the extent that they are one of the state agencies or institutions that are highly respected. Their position on a number of issues are highly respected. We do not also know, like you mentioned earlier, who the occupants of that vehicle are or were, and then also what the plan is. Is it that they are visiting the NDC and then thereafter they will visit the NPP, to try and find out what is happening within their camps, whether to ask them to calm or ask their supporters to be calm in their jubilation, or to jubilate in moderation. So we actually do not know the reasoning behind that vehicle going to the NDC premises. But like Armstrong said, it was wise for them to have left immediately. The crowd there said that, what are you doing here? Would not need you here. Go and rather tell the EC to declare the results, etc. So it's good they've left. However, we are working the lines to also find out from the National Peace Council what it was they sought to do with the NDC or the leadership of the party. That is, if they were the occupants of the vehicle. And then also try and get from their perspective. In fact, as of now, maybe they can say a word or two about the current situation we find ourselves in. In that, the more the EC waits, there's a bit of pressure in the system, the tension, all of that. We are not supposed to push the Electoral Commission also into declaring. In as much as we are all hoping that they will come out early to do that declaration or to give the declaration, we also need to be cautious in our, haste, or you're told to hasten carefully. So that's my thought on this, and we are our producers are trying to get the National Peace Council to find out what
verify.
it is, and then also what their thoughts are on the current situation. And as your election command center, we've told you that if it happens anywhere in the country, we've got our eyes and ears on it for you.
I mean, I'd assume that before they even visit the headquarters, they would even give a call or try to reach them before they visit the headquarters and will not just appear unexpectedly.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that that probably must have been the reason, which is why we're trying to reach them so they can also really tell us what exactly is the situation and whether indeed they visited the NDC headquarters and were turned away by the supporters. We have a caller. We're speaking to one, actually. We're speaking to one of the members of parliament elect. And, well, Martin, I'll let you take that.
Yes, certainly. We have Davis Opoku-Ansah. He is member of parliament elect for the Mpraeso constituency. Mr. Opoku-Ansah, good evening. Thank you for your time. Congratulations is in order, isn't it?
Okay. Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Congratulations is in order, right?
Thank you very much, my brother.
Right. What did the trick for you? Was it a seat you were very confident of winning, or it was just something you were trying? And how did you manage to beat your main contender?
Well, first of all, let me say a very good evening to your viewers. If you look at the history of our constituency, clearly you see that this is an MPP-dominated constituency. So I knew that with a little help, I was going to get into parliament. I was going to win on the ticket of the MPP. But I had a target trying to increase the votes, especially with the presidency. From 2016, I wanted to increase the votes just to be able to ensure that our president secures a win that will not see a runoff. So that's the kind of work we put into it. So we were operating like we're in opposition, and we worked hard, and I think that we've achieved that. We were able to appreciate our votes as compared to 2016, and for me, I am happy about it.
What is it that we do know that one of the things a lot of members who are looking to get into parliament do is that they promise the people sometimes heaven, and it's a concern many have raised. Did you make any of these promises, or you stuck to your guns and says, "Look," and said, "You are a legislator. You're only going to legislate"?
I could not hear you, but I don't know if you could come again.
The line isn't clear. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Kindly repeat your question again.
Yes, I was asking that during the process of campaigning, what was it? What was your message like? How did you craft it to get to the heart of the people who turned up to vote for you?
Well, I think first of all, we have a manifesto that really speaks to the very issues that affect society. So we localized the manifesto. We were able to, first of all, look at the achievements, what we've done in the last 4 years. So we quantified the number of people who have enjoyed the planting for food and jobs. We were able to quantify NAPCO employees, YEA, the number of people we have employed in the constituency, afforestation and all of that. And we look at the flagship programs like the free SHS. And clearly, I mean, in every home that you visit, the indication you get is that one or two have enjoyed the free SHS, and for that reason, they are going to vote for the president. So we had a strategy of highlighting what we have done in the last 4 years, and also looking at the way forward, especially in the areas of education, agriculture, tourism. These are the 3 areas, and trade. I mean. So we went to town and talked to our people. So mainly, I mean, as a member of parliament, you are there to make laws. You are seen as the more of a spokesperson for the constituency.
Right.
So I told them that I don't have the means, but if it comes to advocacy, I think that's one of the strengths that God has given me, and I'm going to utilize that and make sure that I serve my people in that regard, and they bought into it and voted for me massively. I mean, I think that I appreciate my vote. I appreciated my vote with close to about 16%. and for me, I'm happy about it.
Okay. Now, tell us about Empire, so the constituency you are going to represent. What, from where you stand, are their key needs, and how are you planning to resolve some of these or help them, solve some of these major challenges as Member of Parliament?
I have said that Kwawu is a place that if you really want to invest in tourism, you need to consider Kwawu as a potential. I mean, the level of the investment in tourism in this area is overwhelming. That's one area I want to focus on. I mean, it should not be just about Easter. It's not just about funerals. But we should be able to see people driving Kwawu and enjoy our mountainous environment, enjoy the good weather we have, enjoy the caves, enjoy everything that we have in Kwawu, the water fountains and all of the waterfalls and all of that. So it is one area I want to really protect, and it's not just me. It's a decision. It's an area where all the MPs in the BTF and in Koko, in the Grim, we have all sat down to really push harder and ensure that Kwawu becomes a tourism destination of Ghana. I mean, whatever you get elsewhere, you have everything packed in Kwawu.
Right.
So why not come to Kwawu? So I send a clear message that I have a strategy, I have a better plan in the area of tourism, and I think that my people bought into it. Secondly, I mean, 70% of our people are engaged in agriculture, and with the planting for food and jobs, one of the issues that we realized was that access to the various farms, especially with roads, people moving their produce from the farms to the market, was an issue, especially with communication as well. I mean, in areas where most of this produce come from, they hardly are able to communicate to the market folks. So I told them that we are going to improve on their network situation. We are going to improve on the road situation. We need to make a case to government I mean, that the 100 million Ghana cedis a year of investment that Ghana imports onions into our country, we can hold that and keep the money in our system. And for me, when the Soboni, the Nketapa, the Adoso areas in my constituency have the potential to produce that 100 million worth of onions that Ghana imports into our country. So these were some of the cases that I told them, and I think they bought into it, and that will be my focus in the next 4 years.
Okay. Let's maybe backtrack a little. In the primaries, we do know that certainly was expected that going into the competition. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I'm saying that let's take a step back a little to the primaries, the NPP primaries, where the incumbent then and your main contender, Seth Champong, there were some disagreements between both of you, which led to some confusion within the rank and file of the NPP.
Disagreement
how were you able to unify the front of the party to win, not just for you, but then also for your presidential candidate?
Well, I think as a leader or as a winner in every election, you must learn to be magnanimous